Good Friday evening, Southeast Texas. Welcome to 12 News Plus. We're going to take the next 15 minutes and dive into your 7-day forecast. Some good news. That is, if you don't like the hot, humid conditions, well, we're going to trade them in as we head on into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Right now, looking at some high cloudiness working into the area. Just does not look like we're going to see any shower and thunderstorm activity. So I thought we might see an isolated shower or thunder shower, mainly up the lakes area, but looking at satellite, just does not seem like that's going to happen. So some great news for Friday night football is the bottom line. This view courtesy of Packard LaPrade, where it's currently 88 in downtown Beaumont on the roofing at 911 Skycam Network. Again, it looks like if at most an isolated evening thunder shower, mainly north of the triangle. Otherwise, a mix of clouds out there tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures mid-80s at around 7 p.m. for kickoff. Should fall under partly to mostly cloudy skies into the lower 80s, both in the lakes and in the triangle by halftime. And by the end of the game, we expect temperatures to be in the lower 70s, again with light south to southeast winds off the Gulf, and the humidity will be high. But again, good luck to area teams. Weather will not be an issue for this evening. Unfortunately, it's that time of year for fall allergies, and wow, look at that. Weed pollen, very heavy today, and so is mold. Very high levels across southeast Texas, and tree pollen getting in on the mix this afternoon. Grass pollen at low levels across southeast Texas. In your weather headlines, we expect scattered showers and thunderstorms coming up mainly tomorrow afternoon and ahead of a cold front that'll come in tomorrow night. Then after the frontal passage, Sunday, there'll be a slight chance, quite a bit of cloudiness as we see northeasterly winds help start to cool things off. And that means cool mornings, sunny afternoons as we head towards Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. This could be our first bona fide cold front of the season. Otherwise, 92 is what I'm forecasting. I'm going to show you my forecast for tomorrow and model data. So 92 is what I'm going with in the triangle. Give it about a 30% coverage, northeast to east winds expected. Skies will be partly sunny but becoming mostly cloudy coming up tomorrow afternoon. Modeling shows only a 20% coverage, and that's certainly possible, and temperatures in the upper 80s. When you see these hour-by-hour numbers change like that, that means that there are showers and thunderstorms in the area. So, again, I like my 30% coverage. We'll see how that plays out, but I'm going hotter than what modeling shows. For the lakes area, also about a 30% coverage. Expecting more clouds up in the lakes area, and about 90 up that way with a northeast wind. So modeling shows a 20% cover. It could be, but notice how it's in the upper 80s up in the lakes area. So we're pretty close to that. Otherwise, that abundant cloud cover helping to limit the amount of sun we see coming up tomorrow. So here's your highs over the next 7 days. And after tomorrow, it'll start feeling a little more comfortable Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Still going to be hot, don't get me wrong, but the deal is that the humidity will really start tanking on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Start getting highs back into the low to mid 90s. But again, I don't think that's mainly due to low-level moisture, but I don't think we're going to have enough moisture in the atmosphere above the surface to create shower and thunderstorm activity. So Saturday, about a 30% coverage, Sunday a 20% coverage, and then looks dry Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all of next week as far as the work week goes. And that's again because of the limited amount of moisture in the atmosphere. It's going to be confined mainly to the lowest levels of the atmosphere. So it's kind of tough when you have dry layers at around 10,000 feet, 10,000 feet that help cap off the atmosphere. So it doesn't look like much in the way of rain coming up, maybe below normal rainfall next week. And one thing I want you to notice is how that moisture really starts tanking after, say, Saturday, kind of like this. And that's still pretty low as we head towards Thursday and Friday. Friday, moisture starts to come back in, but again, I just don't think it's going to be enough above, say, 10,000 feet to create shower and thunderstorm activity. So right now on the Pro Roofing Concept satellite and radar loop, just don't see anything as far as radar. A lot of high cloudiness coming from the west. You can see underneath those high clouds, low cloudiness streaming in from the south and east. Temperatures mid to upper 80s. Thought we may see a couple showers up in the lakes area, but just looking at the cumulus field, trying to see that, does not look like that's going to happen at this point because we don't have it just looks quiet this evening. Let's just leave it at that. And temperatures across the state now, it's hot, it's humid, south and southwest central Texas, east Texas. But look what's going on up towards Amarillo, Oklahoma City, and Lubbock. In the 50s up towards Amarillo. They're closer to Colorado than they are southeast Texas. Put things in perspective. But still, move in the right direction if you like cooler weather. Look at that. They're running 25 to 35 degrees cooler up into the Texas Panhandle. Dallas is even about 10 degrees cooler because of that weak front starting to slip on down to the south. All this moisture in North Texas, West Texas, it's coming out of the Pacific. The remnants of Lorena. It's obviously not a tropical storm or hurricane or depression, but all of its moisture is being lifted off towards the north and then north and east, interacting with this frontal zone. It's creating some shower and thunderstorm activity that way. And we'll get to another thing in just a minute on why our rain chances had to be reduced for tomorrow's forecast. So tonight, we'll see partly to maybe mostly cloudy skies at times. I think we'll get down just into the mid 70s in the lakes, and I'm going to go the mid to upper 70s and lower 80s in the triangle. Like mid-county, you may not get out of the lower 80s. Same thing with Orange, Port Arthur, maybe 81, 82, 83 down that way. And as we head towards tomorrow, look at that, not much, 20, maybe 30% coverage. There's a reason for this happening, and I'll explain that in just a second. But as you can see, I still think we'll see partly sunny skies during the first half of the day and then becoming mostly cloudy as the front begins to near our area. So still highs around 90 in the lakes and the low 90s in the triangle are expected. So we'll see northeasterly winds tomorrow. Now, as we put this into motion, you can see the front coming on in. Now, at the surface, we will see northeasterly winds. Okay? Out ahead of the front, the winds are going to be out of the north and east also. That does not create a good amount of rainfall. Usually, when you have a front, you have north winds behind it, and ahead of it, winds come out of the south. What happens when those two winds meet? The air mass cannot go into the ground. It has to come up. In other words, out of your television. So this means that there is lift when you see this. Lift causes shower and thunderstorm activity, okay? That's not the case. In other words, we will see northeast winds ahead and behind the front, so there's no what we call convergence, winds coming together. When that think of two balloons, okay? When the balloons, if you're on put two balloons on a table and bring them together. When you mash those balloons, where does the air go? It goes up. Those balloons get squashed upwards, right? That's lift in the atmosphere. We don't have that this time. So it looks like we will see limited shower and thunderstorm activity as the really deep moisture stays into the west and southwest Gulf. Let's put this into motion, and still enough moisture to create mostly cloudy skies coming up on Sunday. But look at the tan way down the scale up into Arkansas, the Red River. Look how that moves on into our area as we head towards Tuesday. So what that means is the atmosphere is really going to be dry. So it's basically going to be dry as we head towards, say, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week at least. And it'll be a cool morning. So not much moisture even by the end of the week. Let's see me get over on this side. Yeah, I just don't see enough moisture in the atmosphere to create shower and thunderstorm activity. In the tropics, way out in the eastern Atlantic, there's the Lesser Antilles, there's Puerto Rico, the west coast of Africa right there. Quite a bit of Saharan dust. Notice it's interacting with Invest 91L. That is helping to keep the system from developing at this time. Remember, it's not the dust, it's what it's telling us. There's a lot of dry air. Think of the dust particulates in the atmosphere as markers indicating dry air in the atmosphere. And that is what this is surrounded by. Remember, we always talk about around 10,000 feet, you need moisture. But when you have dry air like here, it's hard to create shower and thunderstorm activity. And when you have the lack of shower and thunderstorm activity, despite what models show, the system is going to be really challenged trying to move off to the west and develop. And you can see it's surrounded by that dust. Maybe a little break there, and that's why you've got very limited shower and thunderstorm activity. So it's fighting a battle, and it may be a losing battle, as the Hurricane Center has even reduced the chances for development. So the question is, where does it go? Well, we're not sure if this is going to survive. If it comes into the Caribbean, then I just don't think it's going to survive. Say the models are off. Otherwise, the ensemble model that I look at tries to bring it up either here, what we've been showing for days, or here, okay, with a trough coming off the west coast or across our area. Okay, you either want a high over us or you want a trough. You don't want to be between. So we've got a trough over us, which is fine. Regardless, a trough off to the east coast. If it does survive, it's going to go that way. So basically what I'm saying is that this isn't coming into the Gulf, and I think we're going to be fine at least through mid-September in the northwestern Gulf, unless we have something spin up along the front. But it's just going to be hard to do with that with a lot of shear. So I wouldn't be surprised maybe in the Bay of Campeche, the southwest Gulf, because of the Central American gyre that is the landmass is conducive to producing development because of the circulation and producing development after that. So I think we're good through mid-September. So let's take a look at your forecast. On the Gulf tomorrow, looking at slightly choppy seas around 1 to 2 feet. We'll see southwest winds becoming east at 5 to 10 knots. The water temperature is 90 degrees. Let's see if I have any, no questions, okay? And let's see, sunrise is at 6:54 a.m. Sunset, wow, 7:32, getting earlier every evening. Otherwise, high tides at Sabine Pass at 4:08 a.m. and 2 o'clock p.m. So our forecast tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies, maybe a spotty shower, but just not looking at, just now looking at satellite, just don't see that right now, so may not see anything. Mid-70s mainly up in the lakes. Mid-70s to lower 80s. Look at Mid-County. You may not get below 81. Same thing in Bridge City and Orange. 83 Port Arthur, your low. Even LaBelle at 78 degrees tomorrow morning. Your Saturday outlook, outdoor forecast, 30% coverage, highs lower 90s. Heat indices mid to upper 90s, and that UV index prior to the clouds really kicking in at 9.6, which is very high. If you're headed up towards the lakes, again, looking like a pretty decent forecast. Still a 30% coverage of showers and storms, so be aware of that if you're going to be in a boat. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, highs near 90 degrees, and a northeast wind pretty much all day across San Rayburn coming up tomorrow afternoon. So our forecast shows that 30% coverage of scattered showers and thunderstorms. Severe is not expected, and heavy is not expected tomorrow. We should be partly sunny starting off today, but become mostly cloudy in the afternoon, as we'll see a northeast wind fairly light, about 90 up in the lakes to the lower 90s here in the Triangle. Taking a look at your weather impact 7-day forecast. So again, as we take a look at tomorrow, 30% coverage, skies will become mostly cloudy, and then Sunday, going to have a lot of moisture behind the front. So we will see mostly cloudy skies through the day tomorrow, and that could knock temperatures down into the mid to upper 80s for highs coming up on Sunday with a northeast wind that'll be starting to increase coming up behind the front. We'll give it a 20% chance of showers. No thunderstorms are expected. And then Monday, it'll be cloudy in the morning, but sunny in the afternoon as a much drier air mass filters in behind the front. The winds at times could be up to 10 miles an hour. Tuesday morning will be the coolest this round. No records, of course, but if modeling is correct and doesn't throw a curveball at me, it looks like the lower 60s quite doable in the lakes and the mid 60s here in the Triangle. So some of you may need jackets next Tuesday morning. Otherwise,